Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you're doing fantastic out there. In this video today, we have another offering from FireMaple. This is their Trident foldable portable butane stove. Now, before I get onto this a little more, I want to explain that it does not run on these isopro fuel canisters. This stove, the Trident, runs on this type of fuel, these butane canisters. So let's take a look at the side of the package. You can see that it has foldable pot stands, lightweight, small storage volume, compact and stable, and again, like I mentioned, it runs on these types of canisters. On the other side of the package, you can see there is a breakdown with numbers that tells you what part you're looking at. So number 1 is the burner head, number 2 is the pot stand, number 3 is the ejector, number 4 here is the flame regulator, and number 5 is the baffle. Right here, this little plate. Here is a look at the back of the package. This is made out of aluminum alloy, stainless steel, copper, and polyamide. The performance of this stove is 2.2 kilowatts, and it will consume 170 grams of fuel per hour, and it puts out 9,205 BTUs. Now you can see the unfolded size of the stove is 7.2 inches by 6.2 inches by 4.6 inches, and then of course the folded dimensions 5.3 inches by 2.4 inches by 4.6 inches. The weight of this stove is 7.9 ounces, and it's ideal for trekking, campfires, and they say that you can boil 1 liter of water in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. We're definitely going to do a boil test today, 1 liter. And right here on the bottom you can see there are some social media links and things that you can check out to find FireMaple. So let's go ahead and open this package. I want to say thank you to FireMaple for sending this stove out for review. They have some fantastic products. I did look at it off camera and I like this stove so far. So there's the stove and the stuff sack, but there is this manual. So let's take a quick look at this manual before we get into the actual stove itself. So right there, this is the Trident instruction manual. There's not a lot for us to look at here. It's pretty straightforward and pretty quick, to be honest with you. So right here, feel free to pause your screen if you want to hang on to those specifications any longer. This is pretty much a repeat of the stuff that I've already looked at. Use outdoors only or have good ventilation, 3-year warranty. And then of course the next thing is how to use, right there in English. And then here is a diagram, pictures showing you how to use it. Basically unfold the stove, put your fuel canister on, light the stove, and do your thing and disconnect when you're done. There's nothing on the back here. So now we'll open this stuff sack here, which I really like the stuff sacks that FireMaple provides with a lot of their products. They're good quality stuff sacks. I'm always talking about using these in a survival situation, so I'm not going to bore you guys with that information today. So here is a look at the stove. Look at these pot stands. These are thick. They just fold out. There's this little button here that goes in between those 2 bumps. So it locks right in between. And then you got the same thing here. 2 bumps on the inside and then that button just locks. Let's get this one out of the way a little bit. Locks right in. And then this last one right there, it's actually that little part right there, that little hole, It's going to go over the first bump and just lock right into place. And there's your pot stands. This is the valve that you would turn it on and off, and there is no piezo igniter. You do have this baffle, and it does lock into place right here, just like that. It hooks right there. And this is nice because it helps keep the butane canister warm, and it also protects the canister from the heat also. So it does two things. You don't want these butane canisters to get too cold, but you also don't want them to get too hot. So this baffle does a fine job of maintaining that fuel canister. Now on the side of the stove, you can see this little sticker. It's basically telling us to make sure that we're using the correct fuel and to use this stove outdoors. Then when we flip it over, on the other side, it has all the specifications of the stove. So it's nice that they put this little aluminum tag on these stoves. Lets us know everything about the product. So that's all there is to it. Let's go ahead and take the tip off here. To insert the fuel, we're just going to put this here and give it a clockwise turn. So what happens here is this part turns and it goes over those bumps and it locks those little plastic arms. They push out into the fuel canister. So let's take a look at that again. See, that's what happens right there. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to line this stuff up, push in, and then lock. Now we can put the baffle plate right there. And at this point, this stove is ready to use. We can fire it up. And you can see there's the stove. Let's move this stuff out of the way, including this other fuel canister. And I'm going to set up for a 1 liter boil test. Okay, we've got 32 ounces in this bottle. This is 4 cups of water. It's room temperature water. It is in the winter time right now. So, and I am going to boil this uncovered. Let's get our timer ready. We'll just set that right against the fuel canister. And let's take a look at the flame control here. Let's get this, make sure this thing's warmed up and ready to go. Look at that. That's fantastic. Let's go ahead and put this on. 1, we'll start the time. And let's turn this heat up. And see how long it takes to boil 32 ounces of water. That's pretty impressive. And we are approaching the 3-minute mark, and I'm already seeing a rolling boil. Wow. That's pretty impressive. Look at that, folks. 3 minutes and 13 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and stop the time. 3:15, 3:16 to a heavy rolling boil. That is fantastic. Now let's reach down and test the flame control. So if we wanted to cook something that required simmering, this is fantastic. Stove performed a lot better than I anticipated, to be completely honest with you. Flame control is absolutely fantastic. And take a look at that. That stove is a performer. It's a very quiet stove. This thing is definitely a performer, and I love the flame control that you get out of this dial. This is amazing. I like the burner head, how it's nice and wide, because it's not a tiny centralized flame. It's going to work very well. Folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video. Taking a look at the FireMaple Trident. This is their butane stove. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're interested in this stove from FireMaple, I'll put a link in the description box down below. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Let's turn this off and then I'll say goodbye. Let's turn this off. We will just rotate this out This is not hot to the touch right here. This is nice and cool. Rotate this counterclockwise, the fuel canister. Boom, pops off, and that's all there is to it. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.